Hello everyone, today we'll be talking about everyone's favorite fearsome warrior, Knuckles the Echidna. Knuckles is one of the 7 playable characters in Outcome Memories. He's the guardian of the Master Emerald, and even without Emerald and Outcome Memories, he's still a defender at heart who will do anything to keep his friends safe. Knuckles is set to get a remodel, so the model you may see in the video could potentially be outdated if there's any news on this new model, but this is his current model. Knuckles has 1 passive and 2 abilities. So let's jump straight into it. First ability, Knuckles has Glide. Whenever Knuckles jumps to a wall, he'll cling on it. Knuckles will cling onto the wall and hold onto it. He'll slowly slide down it, or if he jumps off, he'll glide. He'll glide for a maximum of 4 seconds to descend. However, he moves extremely fast while gliding and has no energy bar and can't ascend at any means necessary. So he can only jump on a wall, glide off it, and slowly go down. And the move stops after 4 seconds. But there's no energy bar, so there's no making it extend or anything like that. You can do this up to a maximum of 3 times before touching the ground. So you can jump from one wall to another wall to another wall, and then you can't jump into more walls. You jump after that, you'll just glide, and you won't be able to jump onto another wall. Knuckles' first move is Punch. Knuckles will charge up a punch, making it extremely slow, and it will flash red briefly. However, Knuckles will gain a slight damage resistance while in this state, and if you click M1, it will lunge forward and do an extremely fast punch. If Knuckles comes in contact with an executioner while lunging forward, they get punched in the face and stunned for 5 seconds, 6 to 8 when fully charged. However, this ability is capable of increasing the stun times of executioners who have already been stunned, effectively bypassing the iframes. So we can already hit them if they're already stunned, which is very handy to note. Knuckles can charge his punch into 2 sequences. In phase 2, he'll once again flash red with a distinct sound, and his punch will stun the executioner for 6 seconds. In phase 3, this phase is called Burning Fury, his fists will catch fire, and his punch will give the executioner the burning effect. However, most of the time the flames extinguish before the stun ends, making the flames cosmetical most of the time. Taking damage while charging up reduces it by a whopping 64%. For example, 2011X's 42 damage will be reduced to around 15. If Knuckles clicks while charging up his punch in mid-air, he'll do a ground slam, which ragdolls the executioner on top of a normal stun. And you can also do the ground slam while gliding to disguise the ground slam's animation. This is very, very powerful. If you're away from the executioner, it's always good to have your guard up, so if you do see him, punch him in the face for an 8-second stun, or a ground slam to make him ragdoll, which will also still stun him for 8 seconds. So this punch is incredibly powerful, with only a 24-second cooldown. However, the main downside to his punch is he becomes incredibly slow, but you can still glide. So if you have a max charge punch, you can still glide, meaning you can have good mobility with a heavy stun just loaded up at any second. His next move is a counter, 24 seconds if you hit it, 29 if you missed. Knuckles will stop in place and go into a combative stance for 3 seconds, briefly flashing white. If an executioner happens to hit him during this period, they'll be stunned for 5, 6, or 8 seconds and knocked back, while Knuckles can run away with no penalty. If using counter in the fist stance, your counter will take the effects of what stage you are on. For example, if you're on stage 3, Flames of Fury, your counter will apply flames if you hit a punch. Punch will not go on cooldown if using the counter while charging, meaning you can charge, counter, then punch, which is something I do multiple times during this footage. Keep in mind that you can use this ability while gliding to avoid any ambushes, as well as being able to cling the walls and glide while using this ability, as allows you to escape if you miss. To boil all this down, pretty much, if Knuckles is in phase 3 and he does this counter, the executioner will be stunned for 8 seconds with the flames, and then you can still immediately punch them right after if you want to. And if you're on a wall or gliding, you can use this move midair in case the executioner tries to grab you, making his counter extremely useful. And surprisingly, that's all Knuckles can do. He can glide, he can punch, and he can counter. But his moveset is incredibly handy. And when I tell you incredibly, I mean insanely helpful and versatile in so many scenarios. His punch has 2 variations, being his ground pound and his normal punch, and his counter can stun for longer depending on what fist you're in. The best way to utilize his moveset is to stick by your team. If you have a Kree, stick by her, or stick by a Metal while he's healing, and charge up your punch. If your punch is at maximum and the executioner's coming, and let's say Metal Sonic's healing up, use your counter. because if he goes to hit Metal, he'll hit you, get stunned for max. Then charge up your punch again and attack him either immediately or do another ground slam. So he'll be ragdolled twice over, and hopefully Metal will be done healing by then. Same goes for Cream. If she's healing someone, charge up your punches. So if someone tries to attack her, you can block that and immediately counteract. He's insanely helpful when it comes to body blocking and just helping out his teammates. Not to mention, you can counter the Executioner's charge as well. So if he's charging at you, just counter. I've done it multiple times before, even in this gameplay footage in the background. I've countered him, so it's insanely helpful. It is worth noting though, counter is very easy to bait out because if Executioner looks like they're going to charge at you, don't immediately counter unless they're really, really close, because sometimes they may immediately like fly away from you to bait out your counter. It's also worth noting you can kind of pump fake an Executioner. If Executioner is running at you and you use your punch, more often than not, they usually go invisible to think, oh shoot, he's going to stun me, let me dodge this. So it's worth noting if Executioner is coming directly at you, activate your punch stance. Because either two things will happen. They'll go invisible, and then you can just click E again. Because if you click the keybind that is set to punch, you'll just go out of the state, and your punch won't be on a 5-second cooldown. So effectively, you can use your punch, they'll go invisible, deactivate it, just run away. And then if they show up again, then actually hit them the second time. However, if they're not going invisible when you activate your punch, and they're just going to full send it, might as well punch them anyways. It's worth noting, you can do this kind of a bait strategy. Both your moves will be on cooldown after this, but it's insanely helpful in my opinion. If you use your counter and your punch is off cooldown, and you miss the counter, jump up into the air and immediately use your punch. Because this means Executioner will be standing right next to you thinking, oh, this guy missed his counter, let me attack him. Jump immediately, so you dodge any attacks they're going to do, or if you're still white, right, in the last like 2 seconds, jump up, immediately use your punch, so you ground slam them immediately. This means Executioner still gets stunned, and you have time to get away, and you pretty much won't get punished if you miss your counter. However, this does mean both your moves will be on cooldown, and the stun will only be for about 5 seconds, I think. So, be wary of that. But Knuckles is extremely helpful. The main strategy is just help out Cream while she's healing, or Metal while he's healing, and guard your teammates. Use your glide to traverse the map, and just traverse the map with a fully charged punch. Charge up your punch on like not perfect, and just jump from the towers and traverse the map. If the Executioner gets close, counter him. If he's trying to charge at you, counter him. If he's trying to charge someone else, counter him, and then go for ground slams and punch. But Knuckles is insanely fun with really good LMS themes. So, yeah, that's my guide for Knuckles. I hope you all enjoyed. Gold out.